Somebody there.
Oh, I just want to confirm that my audio is okay. Hey,
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma.
good afternoon, sir.
Good to see you.
Same here, same here. I joined on a second device because my network today, I don't know whether it's Valentine's Spirit, I don't know what it is, but I joined on a second device just in case this connection messes
Okay.
up. Yeah.
All right. No problems. Okay.
Is it okay if I share? I want to see if my screen is showing correctly.
Okay, you can. You can go ahead.
Okay, so you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. 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 Okay, sir. So ready whenever you are. Should I go on
Oh,
mute or should I like
oh,
go off camera or
okay, you can
anything?
go off once it's 2 minutes to 3. We
I
can,
can come
you
back
know,
on.
yes.
Should I stop sharing or I can just leave it?
Okay, you can. You can leave it. Or you can stop so that we can introduce you before the.
Okay, let me stop.
All right.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you
thanks so
so much.
much.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I think we have to start. Others can join if they come late. I believe they. Okay. Please, is the technical secretary around? Felix. Felix, please, can you? All right, I think I can hold brief for him before he comes in. Good afternoon, distinguished engineers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the executive committee members of the Nigerian Society of Engineers Abuja branch, I wish to warmly welcome all of you to this edition of our monthly public lecture. Today we have a very seasoned Nigerian. He has a degree in engineering, but yeah, I think he has she has run away from us. But today, by the grace of God, after this lecture, we are going to fetch her and bring her back to the system where she rightly belongs. She is a seasoned business leader with over 20 years of experience working in renowned blue chip companies. Currently, she serves as the startups segment leader, Middle East, Africa, and Turkey in the Amazon Web Services, and has held leadership role at Google, Visa, Nokia, SAP, Cisco, and Microsoft. She holds a computer science degree, an MBA, and a Harvard University leadership certificate. Excited about growing businesses, she leads an exceptional team of AWS to empower startups to grow and scale. She also contributes to the startups ecosystem by collaborating with non-tech founders to turn their ideas into scalable MVPs. Driven by her passion for sharing knowledge gleaned from life experiences, a thriving career, and consulting for successful businesses, she has coached over 300 individuals globally through her Built for Balance workshops, courses, and programs. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today's public lecture, who will be speaking on the topic, Think Big, Start Small, Optimizing Your Limitless Potentials in the Face of Uncertainties. Our indefatigable and delectable Napa Onwusah. Please, can we just give her some thumb? You know, we can't clap. Let's just appreciate her with some thumb up for these wonderful achievements and she has recorded in her career. Somebody, before I introduce her, somebody says she looks very young. How come she has achieved all these things within this short time? So we are going to hear much about her today and also see all the things, all the stuff she's made of. Napa, over to you.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys can hear me okay.
We can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Engineer. You pronounced my surname correctly. Most people say Onwusah. I deal with people that are not only Nigerian, but maybe they don't have the Igbo tongue. So thank you so much. I'm feeling so welcome. Good afternoon, engineers. Presenting can be a bit challenging. So I would really appreciate it if you could share some love in the chat or some emojis just to say welcome. I don't know if that's too much of an expectation, but it's always very warm when people invite you online. Oh, okay, so somebody said thumbs up, but put it as a text, not as an emoji. Ah, thank you. Thank you, Ikechuku. Engineer Patrick, thank you so much. So some of you may have noticed I've joined on two different devices. It's because my Wi-Fi today has been so bad. I'm connected to MTN, I'm connected to IPNX. So let us just pray that the Cupid arrow will not touch our internet as I present. And that for those of us that are having a good Valentine's Day and those that are not having a good Valentine's Day, hey, there's next year as well. So Stacy is here with me. She's from my team. So if we lose connection, she'll just take over. So thank you so much for the warm welcome, Dr. Adeniro. Thank you very much. I'm seeing it all in the chat. I've already been introduced, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I think Engineer Ben has said something that is very dear to my heart, and that is the Build for Balance program. And this workshop is coming to you from Build for Balance. And what we are is we are a community for individuals that are very intentional about building the life they want from what they already have. So we have several pillars. We have your core, your faith, your health, your money, your career, your business, leadership, and relationships. Um, and we don't have a Telegram group. We don't have a WhatsApp group. What we do is we have workshops every month. This is a Build for Balance workshop. And then we have a monthly newsletter as well as self-paced learning. We also have something called Cafe Napa, and this is a free personal or business coaching session for 30 minutes that anybody in the community can access me through. I've had the funniest experiences in Build for Balance, Cafe Napa. Somebody actually joined the 30-minute free session just to play some music for me. So it's always interesting. I love meeting builders in our community. So today we have, I think we have about 15 minutes for this talk. And I don't know how many of you are comfortable, but if you can, turn on your camera. I remember I talked about Cafe Napa. So there was one session I was having with someone, and I kept on telling her, turn on my camera, turn on. And she was like, I don't want to really turn on the camera. I said, it's a safe space, it's a safe space. Then she turned on the camera. I said, turn it off, turn it off. She looked so scattered. Uh, but we ended up having a great time and the camera stayed on. So this is an interactive session, please. I always want to leave the session learning something. So please challenge me. If you feel what I'm saying doesn't make sense, you can put it in the chat. You can put your hand up. I would call on you to speak. Nobody here knows everything. So I also want to learn even during this session. And most importantly, challenge yourself. Like if there's something that you're seeing that is making sense, don't say it cannot make sense. Let it make sense. And then engage, share, be open. I'm looking at the brains that are in this group. An engineer Ben, I'm still an engineer. I will always be an engineer. I don't know why you said I left the fold, but I'm still very much here. So the amount of brain power in this room, I know that we're going to be able to share a lot. So please be as open as possible. So for today's agenda, we're going to talk about what limitless potential is, how to think big, how to start small. Then we'll have a really nice Q&A. So it's going to be just a couple of things that I have done in my life that have kind of helped me. So on the right, these big in sports. For those of you that follow tennis, these are the two goats of sports. It's Serena Williams and Roger Federer. I admire them so much. I don't know how many of you recognize the boxing legend there. Well, he's starting to become a legend. There was a minute he dropped off a bit for those of you that follow sports. And then this is my guy, Ronaldo. I don't joke with Ronaldo at all, for those of you that follow soccer. So whenever I present this slide, people always ask me, why is Messi not on the slide? I say Messi is not on the slide because Messi is not on the slide, okay? So for those Messi fans that are here, I hope I have not offended you, but for me, I really admire Ronaldo's mindset and the way he approaches things. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is limitless potential. And remember, I said this is a session where we will kind of engage together. So I don't know if there's anybody that wants to actually say what potential is, can define potential for us. Engineer Ben, how do I do this? Do I look for raised hands or we just generally can come off mute and speak?
Raise hand, anybody that has So you just click on the reaction button and click on raise hand. So we unmute the person to talk. So if you have anything to say, you raise your hand so that we can unmute you. Okay. Engineer Oliver.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I would like to say, let me go straight to the point. Good afternoon, everyone. I would say that potential is latent capabilities. What one is capable of doing, but is probably not doing it yet, or a height one is capable of attaining, but has not attained it yet. That would be my definition of potential. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And I see another comment. Potential is hidden or stored energy. See, I said it. I said I'm in a group full of people with big minds. This is so true. So I like the perspective that you brought. It's more a case of something that is there but hasn't been activated. I don't know if this is too soon to discuss, but do we think, based on the way we were playing at AFCON, that we have the potential to win? You can just say yes or no. Thumbs up for yes or thumbs down for no. Okay, ability not accessed yet. That's very good. Yes. So do we think that we have the potential to win AFCON? Oh, yes. Edward says yes. Oh, very good. Because the way they were, oh, Kazim, you say no. I see you people. The way you people were dragging Alex on social media, yes, we have the potential, right? But we were not able to capitalize on it because I must be fair, we didn't play at our very best. And one of the things that we've noticed in actually being able to access that number one, that potential that you have is your mindset. And I know because of the tenure of the people in this group that you guys have heard about mindset. We have many different types. We have fixed mindset, growth mindset. We have founder mindset. I don't know how many of you are founders in the room that have started your own business, but there's a specific kind of mindset you need to have as a founder. We also have positive mindset. Some people think positive mindset means you always are looking at the positive side. No, it's actually looking for the growth or the learning in everything that you experience. That's what a positive mindset is. You have a curiosity mindset. There's some of us in this room, I put it to you, if you're on this table, jump off, that you've not tried AI yet, and we're engineers, because you say that, oh my gosh, it's going to be too difficult to taking over people. So you're not even curious about new technology. You're very safe in the technologies that you're doing well. And curiosity in learning about different cultures as well. This is a mindset one needs to cultivate. You also need to be resilient. I don't know what the dollar to the naira is now. 2 days ago, it was 1,485. I think yesterday it was 1,510. And somebody said it's inching towards 1,6. The kind of resilience as Nigerians we need to have right now, it's not just being able to weather the storm, it's being able to actually turn challenges into opportunities. This is a resilient mindset. And then there's adaptability mindset, being able to adapt to changes and things going on. And then customer-centric mindset. I work for Amazon, and this is something that's very big for us, being customer-focused. But out of all these mindsets, I don't know if anybody can put in the chat, what are the two most common ones we hear a lot about of all the ones I've listed? You can type it in the chat. So I've put fixed mindset, growth mindset, founder mindset, positive mindset, curiosity, resilience, adaptability, customer-centric. The question is the two. Positive mindset. Okay, somebody says you hear a lot about positive mindset, growth mindset. Somebody said fixed and growth mindset, growth and positive mindset. So actually, the two most common that people talk about are fixed mindset and growth mindset. Now, I don't know if somebody can help us define this one. You have to come off mute. Whether you can define what a growth mindset is. If you raise your hand, Engineer Ben, I'm assuming you're going to take the person off mute so we can hear.
Yes.
Okay. Is anybody willing to define what a growth mindset is?
Abdurrahman. You can go on. Unmute.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
I say a growth mindset is a mindset that you will have, that you look at the future of your business. You're always targeting the future of the business, looking ahead of what the place you are at now, and you are looking ahead of where you want to be in the future. And that's what I think.
Yeah, a growth mindset always has a future lens. Engineer Edward Udosen says, hoping that things can change positively. This is very correct. Potential is capacity to actualize hidden. Okay, sorry, this is the Engineer Obina Idoko. Do you want to come off mute?
Okay, Amina.
Okay.
Unmute.
Okay, good.
I mean, I think you went back.
Hello.
Okay.
Can
we
you
can
hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so a growth mindset is someone who has a growth mindset is someone who is always open to learning. You know, it has a lifelong learning kind of attitude. So that's somebody. So he's ready to, adjust his thinking, not too rigid on, okay, this is how it is. This is how he's flexible, open to learning from anyone, 360 degrees, top, bottom, side by side. That's my thinking about growth mindset.
Yeah, thank you, Engineer Amina. And that is so spot on. Engineer Flourish says growth mindset is the ability for scalability to increase numbers, market share in future. Growth mindset is a situation, this is Engineer Ibekwe, is a situation of fixing one's mind progressively. I like that. Engineer Kingsley says this refers to the belief that one's abilities, intelligence, and talent can be developed and improved through hard work, dedication, learning, resilience. Very key. And individuals with a growth mindset see challenges as opportunities to learn and grow rather than insurmountable obstacles. I think Engineer Hila, I like this growth mindset is the belief that despite all odds around, you can succeed. So you guys have said all the key things around having that growth mindset. So a lot of people believe that you can't do more than what you were born with. And I'll give you an example of a growth mindset. I have never written a book before. I am not known as an author. But last year, one of my goals in 2022 was to write a book in 2023. I've never done it before. I've never done writing classes, nothing. I actually wrote and published my book. So the thing with a growth mindset is, Engineer Amina raised it, is continuous learning. It's the belief you can develop your skills, talent through hard work, the right strategies, guidance from others. This is so important. So it's not just about growing, it's the way your mind is. And we're going to walk through a couple of examples. Remember, what we're looking at is how do you actually leverage, how do you bring out that hidden potential that's in you? The first step is through your mindset. Meanwhile, a fixed mindset is essentially the belief that abilities are innate or fixed from birth. So one of the things that I don't believe I do well is singing. My husband sings very well. There was a day I was singing inside the room. I was singing a song and my husband ran in and he said he thought I was hurt. That's how horrible my voice is, right? Now, because I have a growth mindset, I believe that I can develop my singing skills if I do hard work, if I do the right strategies, and if I learn, right? So now I'm thinking whether I should do an album. My husband says I shouldn't hurt anybody with my voice, that my voice is a lethal weapon. That's how bad it is. But oh well, I have a growth mindset, so I'm going to try and do it. So if you look at the difference between a growth and a fixed mindset, a growth mindset is sorry, just 1 minute. A growth mindset, you are okay with making mistakes. Making mistakes is it's fine for you because it's going to help you learn. You seek feedback. I see some people that once you start giving them feedback, I think you should do something different, or the way you are addressing this problem, you could do it better. They don't want to hear it. They believe they're absolutely perfect. And if you're on this table, don't worry. I was also like this. I had to learn how to love feedback. And then you ask yourself, is this my best work? I see this sometimes with people. They'll be like, so I'm on my second device now. We'll come back to the slides shortly. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm connecting on my laptop so we can get back to the slides. But the growth mindset will also give you the view that you will not give up, which is very important. Now, for the fixed mindset, you want to always avoid making mistakes. These are the people that don't want to try new things, because if you try the new things, you will now have issues if you do that. Okay, let me just share my screen again. I really apologize for this. For those of you that joined late, I begged forgiveness ahead of time. Hello?
Yes, go on. We can hear you.
Okay, all right, wonderful. Okay, so this is the way that somebody that has a fixed mindset is. You want to avoid making mistakes. You say things like, I will never be that smart. And I know best, this is good enough. And you always give up. Like if something is not going really well, you give up. So we're going to do a very quick exercise now. I'm going to read out a phrase on the screen, and just in the chat, let me know if this is a fixed mindset or growth mindset thought process. The first one is, I'm just not a creative person. I don't have natural talent. Is this fixed or growth? Fixed mindset. Thank you very much, Engineer Lydia. Yes, Felix as well. I love a challenge. It's a chance to stretch my abilities and grow. Fixed or growth? Growth. Thank you. Yes, Engineer Patrick, Engineer Julius, this is growth. I may not understand this now, but with practice and effort, I know I can do better. Yes, Engineer Kunle, it's growth. Yes, this is growth. The last one is, I don't want to ask questions in this session. I beg, it will make me look stupid. For those of you that are in this session, is this growth or fixed? It's fixed, it's fixed. So please ask your questions. This is for you, right? So what you can see from the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset is that for a growth mindset, you say things like, yes, I don't know how to do this report yet. I don't know how to use artificial intelligence yet. I don't know how to code yet. You don't say I can't do it, which is what the fixed mindset is. I can't. That's the word. I can never sing. You heard the story of how my husband said I should not uh, curse the word. In fact, actually, I'm going to harass him. Can he say I can't sing? I can sing. Yes, I don't know how to sing very well yet. That's better. And then another thing with a growth mindset is you believe in effort. If I keep trying this thing, I'm going to get it right. And I think it was Engineer Amina that said it's about learning, continuous learning. You never feel that you've done enough. You just continue growing. And then the same thing with fixed, it's the things like never, I will never get it right. I always am the last person to be picked. I can never do it. This is what fixed mindset is. So how many of you recognize the man on the screen? This is President Obama. Yeah. Engineer Adewale has said it. Yeah, this is President Obama. Barack, he was the first African American person that was nominated to be the presidential candidate of a major political party. It had never ever been done before him. They said a Black American could never be president. Look at the quote he said. He said, if I lose, so that's growth mindset. I don't mind making a mistake. Engineer Gilead says Audacity of Hope. I love that, his book. If I lose, he's ready to fail. He's ready to make a mistake, right? It won't be because of race. Immediately, he's saying that I'm going to take ownership. And my skin color is not what is determining my success. It's not because I was born this way, I can't be great. It will be because I made mistakes. Again, he's okay making mistakes on the campaign trail, and I wasn't communicating effectively my plans in terms of helping them, being the American people, in their everyday lives. This quote from Barack Obama is the whole idea of a growth mindset. He's starting knowing he may fail. He's starting knowing he will make mistakes. He's starting knowing that the odds are stacked against him, but he knows that he may not be the best yet. This man went against a political juggernaut. Who remembers the first campaign, the first election that he went for, who he was against? You can put it in the chat if you remember. It was Hillary Clinton. Just because of time, let me go through. It was Hillary Clinton that he went up against and he won. Yes, it was Hillary Clinton. And how do you actually have a growth mindset? I told you somebody from my team is on, Stacy. Stacy and I had an event, and the event took me 2.5 hours to get to the venue. It was quite challenging for me. But when I started the presentation, even today with the Wi-Fi acting up, it's very challenging for me. But I am cultivating a growth mindset. I'm always cultivating a growth mindset. And how do you do that? You have to know yourself. When I say know yourself, it's not only your good thing. Some people are not self-aware. I don't know if any of you have worked with somebody that feels that they are more than who they are. You'll be wondering, does this person really know that they don't know how to do this well, do that well? It's the same way you should be about yourself. You should be aware of where your gaps are. You have to look at your improvements. So, for example, one of the things that I am constantly looking to improve is my ability to communicate. Because the tendency is I start communicating in my mind and I don't verbally voice it. So I finish my sentence out loud, but I started it in my mind. I'm looking at how to improve that, to always give context, to always give explanation. You have to learn from others. You don't know everything. In fact, the day I realized I didn't know everything, it freed me from my mental blockages. I'm always looking for feedback. After this session, we'll share a link. Give me feedback. Tell me the things I should improve. I always love to hear it. We've already spoken about the power of yet. And then do not compare yourself to other people. I really don't do this anymore. And I used to do it when I wasn't sure of my own vision in my life. And then I'm always looking for learning new things. It was Engineer Mina, I think, that mentioned that learning, continuous learning, and give yourself the grace to make mistakes and be kind to yourself. Even if you make a mistake, you did not destroy the ocean. You can learn from it and be better the next time. So the question is, do you think he achieved that latent potential that he had? Whether you think he was a good president or not a good president, he used that mindset to actually achieve potential, right? All right. So we're now going to move on to the next part. We're now looking at a growth mindset. We believe we can really hit our potential. We've removed all the fear of making mistakes. Now it's, how do you think big? Where does big thinking really come from? And I'm going to share 3 things. And then I would love, oh, sorry, Engineer Julia, you're saying the network is poor. Is anybody experiencing this as well? Are you hearing me well?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Oh, okay. Please, if anybody is there having any other challenges, please let me know. I really apologize for this. It was, today has been, oh, okay. All right. Okay, thank you. So, Engineer Julia, maybe you can check and see if you need to disconnect and connect again. All right. So there's a concept that I use a lot, right? Where does big thinking come from? The first thing I've seen with people that want to think big is that they're not thinking big according to what they want. They're thinking big according to what people want them to do. So I don't know if you've heard a story. There was this fisherman that was on an island, and he would catch fish. The excess fish, he would go to the local market, he would sell it, and then he would go and have lunch with his family, and in the evening hang out with his friends. And then the next day repeat it. And he used to rest Saturday and Sundays. So the money he would make from fishing, selling his fish, He was using it to take care of his family, paying for his house, paying for food. He was living a good life. There was a rich man from the city that now came to visit him. And as he watched the man fishing, he said, "Why don't I help you expand your business?" And the fisherman said, "Okay, then what will happen next?" He said, "Let's buy like one or two more boats, and then you can hire people to fish. And then once you hire those people to fish, let's look for distribution in the big cities. So the more they fish, the more they'll be able to sell. Then we can move from 2 boats to 10 boats to 100 boats to 1,000 boats. And then suddenly you have a fishing empire." The fisherman now said, "Okay, when I make all that money, what will I do with the money?" And you know what he said? He said, "You can then buy a little house on an island and go fishing for fun and bring the money back and then pay for your family and your children to have fun." Do you see how funny this story is? The man was already living his dream, but this rich man couldn't understand, why aren't you trying to make it bigger? And in the end, after going through all of that, he still came back to where he was today. So there's this Japanese concept called ikagili. Ikagili. I always mispronounce it, but I have a growth mindset, so I don't mind making mistakes. I don't know how many of you have heard about this concept. It means, what are the things that motivate you? What are the things that give you life? What are the things that give you joy? Now, in Built for Balance, we have a whole exercise to help you identify this, but this is a general guideline for those of you that this is a new concept. You take what you love and you understand what it is you love. So some of you that are engineers here, you love building things. Some of you love gardening. Some of you love building businesses. For me, I really love structuring business. If you give me a business, I'll structure it for growth. And looking at my career, that's all I've done. You now look at what the world needs. What can you be paid for and what you are good at? Stacey, I don't know if we have a link to that exercise. If we don't, Engineer Ben, I hope you don't mind, I'll send it later. Once you are able to identify this, that sweet spot in the middle is your reason of being. Once you're inside that spot, it allows you to think big. It allows you to think of, what are the things that will make me happy? Because sometimes you open a newspaper article, it will tell you how a fintech raised $68 million, and you now start saying, God, when will I raise? But that's not really your reason of being. So that's the first thing. When you want to think big, you have to make sure it's in line with your own desires, the things you love, the passion you have for your life. Very important. The second thing, when you want to think big, that you have to get rid of is fear. I have a quarterly review, a personal quarterly review, where I look at my vision for my life and everything every 3 months. And this is one of the first questions I ask. What would you do if you were not afraid? If you weren't afraid of failure, if you weren't afraid of not doing well, what are the things that you would actually get done? This is very important for you to think about. So in thinking big, don't allow fear to limit you. And I don't know how many of you have seen this quote. It's usually, they say it's Nelson Mandela, but it's not Nelson Mandela's quote. Actually, it's an American politician called Marianne Wilson. And she said, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, or fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. So another thing that limits us, apart from the first part where I spoke about, where you don't even know what is your reason of being, the second thing is fear. It's fear. You are afraid. I can't tell you how many people I speak to that have brilliant ideas, that their ideas never move forward. My goal in life is to die empty. Like when you visit me in my grave, not anybody here, God forbid, we will all live long ago. But I want it to be that every idea, every thought, every dream, I was able to achieve it. Somebody said the richest place in the world is the graveyard because it's full of ideas, desires. So I really want you to think about, what are those big dreams you have that fear is holding you back from achieving. Now, a couple of things to think about when you want to think big. Expand your vision. I advise traveling, reading books, Nowadays, because of the internet, you don't have to like hop on a plane if you can't afford it. For those of you that can afford it, do it. And sometimes it doesn't mean traveling is only in outside Nigeria. It's also within Nigeria. There's so many amazing places. What this does is it gets you thinking, then set bold goals. There's someone I know that right now, what she wants to do is she wants to do a very unique tea company, and she's still playing around with the idea. But I said, what are the small things you can achieve now that you can start with? Believe in yourself. Growth mindset. If you know yourself and you know your limitations, you know your strengths, you'll be able to grow. Surround yourself with inspiration. Please don't surround yourself with people that are always telling you can't do it, or places that always tell you can't do it. Embrace creativity. It's very important. Take calculated risks. There is a course on how to take risks. I would encourage you to look at that course. It's very important. There are many courses online, but look for somebody that has taken risk and it has gone to learn how to take risks, develop a growth mindset. We started with that, and then break down big goals and stay persistent. Okay. So I'm just going to run through the last part, then we can take questions. It's now, how do you start small? You have your growth mindset, you have your big dream, you've eradicated fear, you've deconstructed fear, you feel empowered, motivated, regardless of your age, your height, your weight, your gender, you feel you can get things done. How do you then start? And I love this quote by Bill Gates. He says, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year. And there's some goals that you won't be able to achieve for the next 10 years. So it's really important. Oh, can you hear me now? I joined with another device.
Yes,
yes,
we can.
So it's really important to be able to have a view of what that looks like in terms of, thank you so much, in terms of what you can achieve. So say, for example, you want to be a billionaire or a millionaire. For a lot of millionaires and billionaires, hold on just a minute. This is not the best experience. So I thank you all for at least giving me grace. So you would tend to underestimate what you can do in a year. Hold on, Stacey, if you can give me a minute. Let me just continue here. All right. So what you need to do is focus goals on actions rather than outcomes. Yeah. I don't know how many of you know how much Elon Musk is worth. Can anybody guess? Or search the internet. How much is he worth? I'm wondering if I'm still here. Somebody can guess. How much do you think?
You are. We can see the slide.
Okay, great. North of 200 billion. That's engineer Sean Henry. No, but I'm not sure. Does anybody really know how much is Elon? The last time I did this presentation, he was worth 47 billion. Yes. He's worth above $195 billion. But see what he said. Instead of making a goal to make $1 million, identify the actions and habits that are required to become a millionaire and stick with it for years. This is the definition of starting small. So you have this huge dream, this big dream. You need to be able to define your goal, create a plan with deadlines, and then break it into manageable tasks, right? Take consistent action, stay flexible, and then seek support and celebrate your progress and successes. So I want us to spend the next 5 minutes very quickly and practice all that I have said now. I hope you guys just type in the chat if you want to add to it, please. So we all know the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Okay. So what I'm thinking we should do is let us see how we can actually achieve a goal of 10, building wealth of 10 million naira. I think 10 million naira is ambitious enough, right? But it feels reachable. It feels achievable. It feels ambitious, but it doesn't feel like something that is almost impossible to achieve. So the first question is, how many years would you give this goal? Because remember, when you're thinking big, you have to be able to set a goal with timelines. How long would you give this 10 million naira goal? In the chat, you want to generate revenue or investment portfolio of 10 million naira. Is anybody willing to share in the chat, or is any hand up? Okay, Engineer Lydia says 3 years. All right. So, somebody has challenged me. Oh. He said 1 year, those 10 million is too small. Forgive me, Jare. That means it's not ambitious enough. Okay, let's do, please forgive me. Let's do 10 million in 3 years, if we're okay with that. So we want to make 10 million in 3 years. Now, so this is think big. We're still setting the goal. We haven't started small. 3 years, 10 million. What will our strategy be? Can we name maybe 3 things we can do within the 3 years that will help us get closer to Engineer Mina, leave me alone. He said $10 billion. What is our strategy? Can anybody think of what are the things in terms of how we think about this goal, this big goal? Okay, farm and sell. So, Engineer Julia, would you say that would be generate more revenue, make more money? Would that be good? Okay, so that's our first strategy, make more money. And we can do it through, Engineer Greg, it can be assets, it can be cash. It just means accessible 10 million naira fund. Okay. So people are saying we should change it to $10 million. Okay, fine. So what I've heard so far is strategy. Number 1, make more money. Someone said through ICT, through agriculture. Engineer Augustina, I don't know if this is serious. They keep praying and hoping. I always say pray, but move your feet. Okay, savings, investment, borrow. I wouldn't say borrow, but I would say to invest wisely. So that is the second strategy for sure. So we've done 2 strategies so far. Invest wisely, engineer Mina, good, invest in stocks. We've said number 1, we are going to make more money through things like projects, ICT. We're going to generate more money. The second thing is we're going to invest wisely. So investment in stock, investment, somebody else said something else. Have savings, very good. But we need a third. So we've done actually 3 of the actions. So we've said we're going to. Okay. So we've said we're going to, number 1, invest. Number 2, we're going to try and make more money. And then number 3, we're going to, what was the third thing we said? We're going to minimize our expenses. So remember, this is big thinking. We've agreed it's $10 million we're going to do. We've agreed that these are the 3 strategies. Now, the question is, remember, this is big thinking. Now we're bringing it small. What are the 3 actions you think we can do to be able to achieve these 3 strategy items? It has to be small. It has to be manageable. Any thoughts? Plan, initiate, action. Yeah, but Engineer Dano, what is the small thing you can do to be able to make more money, invest wisely, or minimize expenditure? It has to be small. Remember, you're thinking big, but you're, okay, fish pond. So what you would do as the first pass is to get a business proposal for a fish pond, Abby, or you already have one. Engineer Amaka, do you mind coming off mute? More marketing. Engineer Greg, what is the more marketing? Okay, find collaborators, more marketing. Okay, so the thing is, I was hoping somebody will come off me so we could actually discuss it. Okay, feasibility study. Well, feasibility study will cost money. Engineer Adewale, are you the one doing it? So for example, if you are doing minimize expenses, make more money, and then you're looking at invest wisely. Invest wisely, you can join an investment club. That's something that is not a heavy lift. An investment club that's not telling you to put your money in wild schemes that are just bringing investment opportunities to you. To save money, you minimize spending, you could start making sure that you put a cap on your budget, right? And then Engineer Ikechukwu says build knowledge, capacity building. You can decide to take a course on digital marketing and then look for some opportunities outside. So the whole idea of thinking small, starting small, is to do the things that are not too heavy for you, do it consistently, and then keep adding to it. Make a conscious effort to save a certain amount every month. This is something that you can do that won't break the bank. So the idea is to continue to invest in those small actions. Remember what Elon Musk, the quote we did from Elon Musk, where he said that instead of focusing on the 1 million, or in our case, $10 million, is what are the small actions you can do today that can get you closer to the goal. So with that, I hope I managed to convince you and not confuse you. And I apologize again for the internet. It did what it did. But I'll just open the floor for any questions that you might have. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma. And we are going to, before we make, we allow our senior colleagues to make comments. I think we are going to take questions first. If you have any question based on the topic presented, you click the reaction button, raise hand, we will unmute you to ask your question. Question and comments. I have not seen anybody that raised his hand. When you raise your hand, we will unmute you. There were those that were muted earlier that sent in comments. I wanted them to speak to the comments they made, but okay, can we take questions, please? Okay, Engineer Udeme Udofia. Okay, can you unmute your mic and speak?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon to everybody. I want to start by appreciating the speaker on the presentation. Then my question is, now in construction, for instance, in engineering construction, like I'm a civil engineer, then how do we, looking at for instance, the business of real estate in Nigeria, in Abuja, for instance, when you go around, you see a lot of building projects, real estate projects going on, and then we have few professionals who are involved in the business, not just rendering professional services. Now, how do we start small by being involved in this real estate and then doing it as a business beyond rendering professional services? Because we see a lot of people who are into real estate who are not even engineers making it in it. And then how do we as engineers who are professionals going to start small to invest in this real estate? Thank you.
So engineer, I just saw my dear friend, Engineer Uche Ofili. So Healings. If I understand your question correctly, you're asking how can an engineer start operating in the business side of real estate?
Yes, ma.
Okay. So what challenges are you facing now in coming to that, being part of the business?
Okay. The first challenge is capital.
Or being able to purchase the house?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I think in this case, it would be interesting for you to look at what other ways to capital you have, because my sister-in-law is actually in real estate, and she purchased her first property to flip this year. But that's not how she started. She started with joint ventures, number one. And number two, she also started selling or providing auxiliary services around real estate. So she had a target of how much money she wanted to make to be able to now invest in her first property. So what she did is she looked for business opportunities that were able to provide that. And the strangest thing is she found that she was making a higher margin on the services outside the buying and selling of real estate. So I think it would be really good if you could dive deep into some of those services. How much money do you need to actually generate to be able to invest that capital? What capital are you looking at? How do we get you to the capital, right? So do you see how the starting small? The starting small is focused on building out the capital, and the starting small is not focused on buying the property. I do hope that helps.
Thank you, ma.
I think if I may add to this, because I can feel, I think where you are coming from is as an engineer who is into engineering practice, and you want to venture into real estate. With the little resources you have, how can you start small? What she answered is that I will give you a real life experience of some group of guys I know who also tried a similar thing. What they did was that they pulled money together. The resources they have, they ask themselves, which area, this is in Abuja, which particular area in Abuja can we purchase a land with these resources and build a house and sell? So they started with building small 3-bedroom bungalows. As they were selling, they were increasing to two units of the bungalows. It gets to a point where they started building and selling 5. From the satellite towns, as we call them, they gradually moved to the city, and they are now building and selling in the city. And gradually they are developing and they are growing. So you can seek for partnership, people who have the same vision with you that you can partner with if you don't have that resources, and then you start small. Don't think of starting in Maitama. You can go to Kuje and then gradually you will migrate to Maitama. I think that is where you are coming from.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ma, we have Flourish that has raised her hand. Engineer Flourish, please, can you unmute and speak? Flourish. Is the network not flourishing this afternoon? Okay. Flourish, can you please unmute? We have given you the permission to unmute. Okay, while we are waiting for her, we can take other comments or questions.
Good afternoon, all.
Okay, good afternoon.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank Napa for the talk that she has given us this afternoon. Mine is not a question, really. It's more of a comment. It seems to me that what Napa is saying is basically that it's a question of mind over matter. That you can do whatever you want. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve if you set your mind to it. And a lot of us have those kind of limitations whereby we feel that we cannot achieve things and then we don't embark on them. Like one of the things she talked about, you think about a project that you want to do and you don't act on them. And she said something about the grave sites. Grave sites are full of ideas that were never embarked upon because people go to die with the ideas that they had. So what I would like to ask her really, there's a question. How do you go about developing that positive mindset that will help you to actually embark on your dreams and actualize them? Is there any advice you can give to people to help them come up with that positive mindset that is required for them to go about activating their various dreams in order to achieve them? Thank you.
Yeah. So my mind wasn't always like this, though. Like, I don't know how many of us have experienced parenting the way we can parent as Nigerians. There are things that are said to you when you are younger that stay with you as an adult. You start thinking you can't do things, you see. So the first thing I did was I really took time to understand myself. I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, where are my feelings? Where are my shortcomings? What can I do well? What can't I do well? I didn't hide behind what I felt I should be. Okay. So like I can openly share with you here about mistakes or things that I don't do well because I understand now that those are not the things that define me, but it took me a while. I'm telling you the truth. It took me some time. And it's just something you have to keep on working on. Another thing is feedback, allowing people to tell you good feedback, positive, it also helps. And I know this was the topic of the session, but I can't talk enough about starting small. I really can't talk enough about it. When you start a business, I see it. You want the perfect name, you want the perfect website, you want the perfect product. I would encourage you to read a book called The Lean Startup with Eric Rind. I think that's his name. The Lean Startup is a great book because it's that starting small mentality. What are the 3 things I can do now? So look at the example we used about trying to make $10 million. People were talking about collaboration, feasibility study. That's not starting small. That's really starting big. Starting small is as simple as I'm going to save 10% of my salary every month. That is starting small. I'm just going to save this amount. Or if you can't do 10% because the situation in the country is real, you may say, I'll do 2. That's starting small. I learned to start small. I learned to take feedback. I learned to have the right people around me that could tell me, Napa, this thing you're doing, how are you saying it? So some of us, we need to get rid of the things that we grew up with, maybe trauma you suffered as a child or those are the kind of things that help. I hope this made sense, because it's something I went through on a personal level. So there's no slide guiding this, but I understand what it's like to feel like you can't do it. And I know the work I needed to do to be able to get to a point where I don't start things because I know I can do it. So it's a different kind of mindset.
All right. Flourish, you are back. Okay. Can you go on now?
Yes, please. I've already asked the question in the chat box. Thank you very much for this beautiful, presentation. But I asked the question in the chat box. How can we be, I want to be part of Built for Balance, maybe your programs or your courses, because this is not enough. We need to actually learn more. This is not actually enough. So how can one be part of that program? Thank you. And your courses.
I think Stacey has dropped the link.
Did you get the question, ma?
Yes. Stacey dropped the link in the chat box.
Okay. Yes. All right. Engineer Kunle Adebajo.
Okay, good afternoon, and thank you very much. I know we've been talking a lot about mindsets and growth mindsets and positive maybe not as much about individuals in terms of risk aversion, because there are some people who, even when they have a growth mindset, they just aren't really capable of handling risk. So I wonder if you can just talk a bit more about how that works with regards starting small and then growing. So that's one part of it. I think the second aspect is slightly tied to it, but it's about where you refer to people tend to overestimate what can be done in 1 year, but underestimate in a longer period of time. Again, I think the reason for underestimating over 10 years is because, again, there's this feeling of how really far can they go. So I just would like to see whether you believe that there are actually people who just aren't going to do it, and there are others who will be able to, based on risk and their personalities, and of course their desire to even have all that comes along with it. Thank you.
So, Adebayo, I don't know if you mind me asking, are you saying risk or fear?
I would say it's risk aversion. So when I refer to that, it's just knowing that you have X and that you possibly could get it to 2X, but you don't also want to lose the X that you have.
Exactly. And that's such a loaded question, because that is the reason I believe in starting small. So apart from the growth mindset, you have to understand that success is a journey and it is not a sprint. I think if we can, I struggled with it myself because, yeah, I have a growth mindset. I can share with you guys, say when I'm in a safe space. I felt when I was in my early 20s, I fell to a scam, to a Ponzi scheme in quotes, because I wanted to be able to do something quickly. And that is always the challenge. There's some things that will happen very fast. There's some businesses that grow exponentially, but most times true success in life is like laying a foundation. It takes time and you have to get it right. So that is why starting small actually reduces your risk. So, for example, the engineer that said not enough capital to go into real estate. And I love the explanation Engineer Ben gave around looking for people to pool money together. But actually, you can create a service at low cost that will be able to allow you to enter this capital market. You can start small. You can do something as simple as connecting people that always want to buy tiles from Italy, and you connect them to people that actually sell the tiles to Nigeria. It's a low capex venture and it is low risk. So most times, starting small reduces your risk significantly. It does. So the people that usually do a lot of investment into an idea, there's sometimes behind it is the feeling of, I need to hammer, I need to blow, I need to multiply this as soon as possible. But true success, it takes time, it takes intention, it takes investment. And this is not saying there's something you won't start today that could multiply next, but it is rare. So Engineer Adebayo, I don't know if that kind of gives a view of my own thinking around that, is that don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to start. To manage your risk, start small so that you're able to then pivot if things change. And then also have the mindset that this thing I'm doing, I have to consistently do it over a period for it to be successful. There's a saying, if you keep doing a task every day for 10 years, you'll become an expert, like whether you like it or not. So I think that those are the kind of things that keep me going. I keep those kind of tenets in front of me.
All right. I think we've done justice to that. We will take just one more comment or question and we'll call it a day for today. So the lucky one, hit the button Oh, Engineer Rashid Hassan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You can go on, sir.
Thank you. And I want to appreciate our presenter for this eye-opening session. It's really enlightening. So I just wanted to say a little about the risk aspect. So like she said, starting small in itself is mitigating your risk so that if things, go wrong, your exposure will be limited. So it's really, really good to start small, very small. And also, it will be good you start with your own resources. Like you gave the example of those young guys that collaborated. So use your own self-generated resources so that in case things also go wrong, you can absorb your own loss. But if you have gone for loan from whoever, from banks, then I'm afraid you may start losing your sleep or even lose more. And a few other things is that you have to be disciplined. Disciplined is very, very important. The things might hurt the business, you don't really go for them when you are at the startup level. Again, you have to delay your gratification. You cannot eat your cake and have it. Your profits, your gains at the initial stage, as much as possible, you have to, or you can plow them back. And you'll be amazed. Like we said, the attitude that you cultivate over years, you become an expert. In 2, 3, 5 years, those 100,000, 50,000, 200,000, you'll be amazed at the amount of resources that you have amassed to continue to pursue that big vision that you have. But if you don't delay your gratification, you want to take your profit now, then you may not be able to go far. So that's also a way of mitigating your risk and much more. But for the sake of time, I will stop there. And again, I want to appreciate Mr. Chairman for putting this together. We hope to see more of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, we go back to Napa for the final shot before we call it a day.
Yeah, thank you for persevering through our Wi-Fi issues, because I don't know what Valentine is doing today. It's Valentining on all the networks. I thoroughly enjoyed this time. So thank you so much for having me. It was an honor for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Once again, on behalf of the executive committee members, I want to thank you. It wasn't easy getting you to do this. We want to thank you, honestly. Even we've not met, I just sent you the message and kept following up. And I know what it takes to get people like you to come and speak on meetings like this. But you graciously obliged our request. I want to thank you. I want to thank especially Stacy for keeping in touch and following up week after week. Thank you so much. Just as the last speaker said, we need more of these. We'll keep in touch with you and be inviting you more frequently for things like this. I told you that we're going to get you back to the system, to the engineering family, and surely we are good. Thank God you said you are very, very good friend is Uche Ofili. We are also going to, through him, make sure that we pull you back to the family you belong to. And to our senior colleagues that have joined us, we have many of them, many of our very senior engineers. I can't call all their names, but I want to sincerely thank all of you and all the participants who participated and those who couldn't join because we've reached the maximum. Please bear with us. There are those who came in and we are knocked off again. We want to say a big thank you to all of you and see you this time next month. God bless you. And I say on behalf of the executive committee members, happy Valentine. Play safe. Thank you and God bless you. Have a wonderful evening.